As far as the trust is concerned, I can see that the other person currently and repeatedly does the thing with some, you know, let's not use the intention because we are using intention for something else with a wrong motive. And his consistency in that, I can see it. And I tried my best to explain or convince or change, and then nothing is working, but still continues to do it. And many a times, these are the people whom we cannot just like that leave in the life. Either they are colleagues at a workplace which I can't change, or a close member of a family which I cannot change, biologically related. So there is no way usually many a times to walk away as well. But still it is there. And then we are continuing that relationship only in a superficial level, but inside, you know, there is a wrong feeling towards that person, which justified based on his actions, his behavior and the actions. But then in the entire process, the person who is struggling more is me. Struggling more is me, because internally, so there is an opposition towards that person. Why is he like that? Why is he doing this? That kind of feelings are there towards that person inside. So that causes, a lot of disturbance. In fact, day in and day out, maybe has done something in the past, may not be doing for, let's say, last week or this month, but still I continue to have that feeling, towards that person. So the trust thing explains to us this fundamental reality that there is an innate potential in every person. There is an innate desire that he wants to be happy, he wants to make others happy. Though in his present capacity is not that. So once we understand this, how can I understand this? Because I can also see that though I am not as, so if I have to use that word, bad as that person, I also do mistakes with my own loved ones, the people who I love the most. With them also, I hurt them sometimes. I can see that those things are happening because lack of my capacity, my competence. And for us, it may look, how can this person be so bad? Can he lack so much competence? Yes, it is. Because the worldly expertise, whatever skills, whatever position he may have, the actual, his behavior has, very poor relationships. One can be a doctorate also, but still don't know even how to talk to a colleague and how to do this. All this is because of very deep conditioning inside that makes them, obsessive about certain things and not even being a human. Simple behavior also may not come out of them. So that is an extreme lack of competence. But even when they are doing like that, once we understand that innately, they too want to be happy, and they think that certain way of living make them happy, and certain way of living is the right way to do. That kind of wrong conditioning is there in them, because of which they're doing like this. Once we understand that this is the reality, right, and this is his current state. So once we understand that, immediately there is a feeling in us that as we become sympathetic, as we forgive somebody who doesn't know, who is younger to us, very like a child, we forgive very easily. That kind of forgiveness will come to us. In fact, a karuna bhav, like a feeling, of sympathetic feeling comes in our thing. And then, we can let go, can forgive and let go and have right feeling in us, have right feeling. But at the same time, right feeling does not mean blindly, assuming that he will do everything right from the, day one, day two. That is not going to happen. The feeling is right in me, but at the same time, I'm aware of his current competency. I know how he's going to behave tomorrow. So accordingly, I will plan. So the second part I'm now talking is about the outside. Inside, based on not his current capacity, current status, but based on the reality, based on the existential principles that everybody wants to be happy, The intent, even if they are doing wrong, the intention is not that. Okay. So based on that, I cultivate the right feeling inside me, which is not easy. I have to, practice, right? That is inside part. The outside part is based on his current capacity. Okay, currently, what is his capacity? Is he going to behave right with me today? Most likely not. Is he going to change in 1 week? Most likely not. Is he going to hurt me again? Yes. Is he going to do something wrong? Yes. So for that, what to do? Whatever is needed in that situation, you do it. Whatever is needed in that situation, but in such a way that things do not become worse. Because ultimately, if things become worse, again, we'll feel bad. So whatever is needed, the bare minimum needed, those actions we can do. If you have to protest, you protest. If you have to complain, you complain. But then let's not do things with an opposition feeling, and then not make things worse. The outer action, whatever is needed, we can do, and the inner action, but always to have the right feeling towards that person. But in my experience, once we deeply, have better and better feeling about that person, today I may cultivate that feeling again, after 2 days, again that will go. Again I start, again I do it, again I do it. So yeah, today I have right feeling, again by evening, again I may have a wrong feeling. So it's not so automatic. So consciously put effort and have this right feeling. First of all, that will make me peaceful. First of all, really, really peaceful, right? And then with that right feeling, even very simple thing like tomorrow when you face that person or when you call him tomorrow, right? There is a change in your voice. There is a change the way you say hi. There is a change. You smile. Okay. So there is a change in the way you work with him, and the other person senses it, very, very well. Once there is a deeper change in us towards that person. So that way I've worked, and it really worked out very well in all my relationships, whether it is with my wife, children, my brothers, sisters, colleagues, superiors. All the time it's like this. All the time the thing is to aware about my feeling inside, because we ourselves have a tendency to have the feeling which is based on the recent incidents or their current capacity, not on the existential reality. That is, every person wants to be happy and it doesn't intend anything wrong. We forget that principle. We'll say, but how can this guy do this? So, and the feeling is based on what they have done recently. So let's say on some day, at some time, I'm not able to have the right feeling, wait for some time. Work on it. There are times when I had to have some interactions with people, and then see, when you're going for a meeting, you dress up well, you comb your hair, you wash your body, and then go neatly. Right? Similarly, when we interact with people, it's important to wash inside, have right feeling inside. So there are times when I have to face this challenging situations where I waited for some time, maybe in a few days, to cultivate the right feeling towards that person. It was difficult because every time my mind is telling me is this, is that, sometimes half of our perception about other person is not our first-hand experience. It is based on more than 50% is what others told about this person. About the incidents, we ourselves have not seen them.
Right.
Right. So in some cases, we find out what kind of person is it through others, and they have their own story, their own side of the story, which most of the time is not accurate. So all this, we ourselves will get trapped in these kind of things rather than having our thought process, our feelings based on the right principles. So there are times where I, contemplated again and again, paid attention to myself and made sure that I have the right feeling, and then only, had a word with them. So, and these things work out, really, really well. We don't understand the value, the power of the right feeling. When you have the feeling of, trust and love in us, everybody, they'll just melt. with our love. And that happens with some people, right? There are some people always in our life, also in our family, also, with their love itself, will feel so comfortable in their presence, right?
With me, it only happens with pets.
Yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, now no human beings are there in this category. Only the animals are there.
That's the only unconditional thing I get from them, and I can also give them with right intent and the right feeling or whatever that you explain now. It only happening with me with those.
Yeah.
Anyways, so whatever the problem or question that I come up with, the bottom line, the answer comes is like, work on you.
Yes.
You work on you. That's all.
Yeah. Yeah. Jahnavi ji, finally, it starts there, it ends there. Right? Right. Whenever it starts, you see, the only thing that really in our hands is what?
Right.
Only myself. All other things we really do not have control over.
Yeah.
Right.
Thanks so much.
Yeah. Thank you. In fact, that's our topic today, that working on ourselves, that is harmony in the self is the topic today, because, we discuss all this, 5 days so that we can talk about this, that work on ourselves. Right. Yeah. Thank you. So any further questions? Yeah, any further questions? Ravindra Garu, you wanted to talk? I think you're unmuted. Okay, you're muted.
Sorry. Okay.
Yeah, anybody else? So our focus is to, have whatever is discussed, let us understand it. It's not like school or college, or it's not like that we have to complete the syllabus, right? Let's understand, whatever is discussed properly. Okay, so if yeah,
One small this thing, you have very deliberately not brought the divine or any other principle more to make it secular, isn't that so?
no, nothing like that. See, I mean, being true to the nature is divine. See, divine means being the way we are supposed to be. The divine is the right thing. The divine is there is some existential reality, right? That is, have the right feelings, do the right thing, understand things as they are, That is divine.
Okay. I mean, the same concepts of love and sharing and caring, all of them are also taught through the spirituality, isn't that
Yes,
so?
yes. See, these are different ways of putting, right? These are different ways of putting, but no path, no approach, no religion, no spirituality can say anything different, anything wrong, right? So we are only trying to put in a way, as you said, will not say secular, to put it in a universal manner. And it is possible to understand these things, by introspection, by self-exploration, by exploration of the nature itself. You can figure out, what is right, and discover what is our purpose, and we discover what is the way to, go forward.
True. I mean, really beautiful and very logically appealing and intellectually very, very appealing.
Yeah.
the logic which they have given out, and then see that why we should have these qualities. Beautiful. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you. But there is no this thing also to avoid. We're not trying to avoid anything, not trying to discount or under evaluate anything else as well. Everything has its own importance. Right. In fact, I think 2 days back, somebody was asking about the scriptures. Yes, scriptures have their own importance. They are trying to draw our attention to something what is right. But if I just hold scriptures in my hand or read them every day, will I become better? They are also telling us to do something. So whatever is the source, that is only a information. Information comes to us. We have to act on it. So that's the point we're trying to mention. Okay.
Very.
Thank you. Yeah. So let's move. Get into the workshop. That we are trying to understand the entire existence, right? And we said the right understanding. So we have physical facilities, relationships. Physical facilities are like money, house, car, everything, that anything that is material. And relationships we have with others, other people, right? Either to be contented, like have this feeling of prosperity with respect to physical facilities, or be right in the, have this happiness, mutual happiness in the relationships. To do both these things, what we need is the right understanding. So this physical facilities is there, relationships is there. We will be mutually happy, or we will feel prosperous with respect to physical places only when you have this. That is the right understanding, which we can say knowledge, you can say wisdom, you can say clarity. And then that whatever right understanding we are saying is right understanding. So we're saying it is about understanding these 4 levels. That is, as an individual, what I am a human being. I understand that, which we said again, like human being is body and self. You understand body, you understand self, and do whatever is according to the nature to be done. And then understand the relationships. What is meant by having relationships? It's about having feeling of trust, feeling of respect, feeling of care, guidance, and so on. What about harmonious society? It's about, in every family, every individual happiness, every family prosperity. As a society, we have fearlessness, and with the nature, we are existing in a coexistential manner. So that is at the society level, and similarly at the nature level. So far, individual, family, and society are discussed, first 3 modules. And today I'm trying to, discuss the last one, that is nature. And a lot more is to be discussed at the existence, because nature is just this planet, what is there, but there is a space, there are other planets, and, there are, so many cells and all those things. We can discuss every such thing, and all that is part of this, this Jeevan Vidya thing. But then we don't have time in this workshop. We are going to have a lot of follow-up sessions. In those sessions, we discuss. So we are going to limit ourselves to nature. So we understand all this, but at the same time, this is logical, this is rational, this is appealing. So I understand this. No, that's not enough. You don't get much by understanding this. When I live according to this, then only there is a result. That is, I feel happy. I am able to make my family a better. I become a better person. Then I contribute positively. So that's going to happen only when we live, because we already have so many pundits who understood and preach. But it is the living which actually leads to the right results. Okay. So today, I'm going to draw your attention to harmony in the nature in a very brief manner, very brief, right? So those who are interested, we can share a detailed videos that we have. There is a material or that we can say share later. But I'm going to spend about 10 minutes or 15 minutes on this today. So if you observe the nature, so we have chronic order, in which you have plants, trees. We have animal order, in which animals, birds we have. And there is a human order, where human beings, and the physical order, where we have soil, metals, and all. So if you look at the relationship between each of these orders, among the orders, between physical order and the pranic order, one example is, there's a soil and there's a tree. Okay, the soil is giving the required nutrition to the tree, and the tree, grows, it has branches, it has leaves and the fruits, and then dried leaves will again fall on the soil, and the soil gets enriched, and there is a beautiful cycle. There is this cycle of not only the cyclic, it is mutually enriching. The nature is beautiful that it not only is cyclic, in fact, we are just talking about recycling in our life, but every cycle that runs, again, both the involved parties are enriched. Both the parties are enriched. If we understand the principles of nature and conduct ourselves or design the systems based on the natural principles, what will happen is that we not only get output, not only both the parties' needs get fulfilled, both of them get enriched. So this is so much of abundance in the nature. Nature is full of abundance. There is so much. When we don't understand the nature, when we act against it, we don't feel the abundance. We feel the lack of it, right? So then comes the relationship between the pranic order and the animal order. Again, you can see the beautiful relationship between animals and how they support, the plants, and plants how they're supporting the animals. Again, relationship between animal and the physical order also is mutually fulfilling. And where is the culprit? It is the human order. So the human order, the incoming is okay. No material entity is doing any harm to us. No plants or trees are doing harm to us. Animals are not doing any harm to us. In fact, even tigers, wild animals also not doing any harm. In fact, these days we have a reverse campaign that save tigers, right? So people are killing the tigers, and we use everything for our enjoyment. Animals are there. I cut, eat for my sensory pleasure. The soil is there, air is there, everything. I use it and spoil them. So our relationship with the rest of the three orders is a big question. That's why we are showing a question mark. Everything else is in order. So if you really look at this big picture, so do I have to work? What is the most important problem to work on? What is the most important problem? It is the human being. Anything to be fixed, only guy to be fixed is the human being. You don't have to fix the animals, you don't have to fix the vehicles, you don't have to fix any technology. Because everything else to be fixed is because of lack of clarity in the human being. So that's why CHDHC, that we are here to fix ourselves first. Okay, we are also human being, and then help others to fix themselves, because nobody fixes others, by the way, right? We can only draw their attention that, okay, there is something to be fixed. This much only drawing the attention, right? Because people are, all of us, people, when you say I'm not taking a superior position, higher pedestal, saying that we can just live without knowing that, our evolution is not complete. There is something we've done on myself. So this is what the nature. If we can fix that, it will be, the world will be, so beautiful, so fulfilling for everybody. And that will be according to the natural acceptance. And then it will lead to mutual fulfillment and mutual enrichment. Okay. That is done about the nature. Very briefly, again, just a few statements. You can see out of the 4 orders, the 3 orders are already in mutual, fulfillment manner. They are already in order. In fact, if you quantify it, 99.999% is already everything fine. Everything is fine. The human being is only small part of the nature of the existence. If any problems are there, they are caused by the human being, and the sufferer is also the human being. But human beings' potential need to be guided by the understanding of the interdependence and mutuality. We need to understand this interdependent aspect. And how do we do this? Education. That is the only way to do it. Education. Education, again, don't get wrong. Education doesn't happen only in the educational institute. It starts with family. It starts with family. So let's work on this at the level of family, at the level of individual and the education institute, parents have responsibility, the teacher have responsibility, the media have the responsibility. And ultimately, once I grow up, see, I'm not listening to anybody, right? I'm on my own. So final responsibility is on us. So this guy needs to be fixed. Hence, what we are trying to do through the education, as the NGOs or anybody who is trying to do, is work with human education. We work on this, then establish the human order, human constitution, human conduct, and that's how this human tradition, on this planet, one can go on and on, and forever. Where do we start? We start here. We start with the education. We start with value education. Right. So that's a small presentation on the nature. Okay. As I said, we're trying to keep this brief, and we have to prioritize. There are many things to be discussed. We are trying to discuss things which will be of immediate concern and of immediate help to many people. We feel the relationship part, the individual part is more important at this point in the society. The nature part, very important. In fact, that's how we can bring change in the society. But the limited time we have, we are trying to pay. We are allocated less time for this, and there will be more occasions where we can discuss this in detail. Meanwhile, if there are any questions, first I'll take it up before I start the new topic. You can ask any question from the day 1 to till now. Any questions? Any clarifications?
Hi, good
Yeah.
morning.
Yeah.
From the last question, I have doubt.
Yeah.
How can we know that proper care is given to children?
How can we know that?
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, how can we identify that we are giving proper care and guidance to children?
Yeah. So I think we can just have very obvious, very few things that, first of all, the care, here the care and guidance, we're using two specific technical terms. That care, we are referring to the body of the child, of anybody, body of the other person. The guidance, we are referring to, guidance is a feeling towards the self of the other person. So the care part, if this both you are taking care, if you have both of these things in mind, that means you are doing your complete job. Let's say I'm most of the time or concerned about the body of other person, right? I ensure the food is given. I ensure that they don't fall ill. Ensure the physical arrangements I make. I ensure that for the future in terms of the physical facilities they need. Okay, the money they need, their livelihood in future. So that part I take care. All this is care. All this is care. But the guidance is to ensure that they get right understanding. Right understanding. They know how to cultivate right feelings. They know how to accept their mistakes, how to work on themselves, how to be the honest, how can we introspect and become better, how they know how to handle the relationships. If we are empowering them with this knowledge as well, then it is a complete care and guidance. So that will show up because in every child, in fact, very easily we can observe how they are behaving with the parents, others, their own siblings, how they are behaving um, with their friends. Even as a 5-year-old, 6-year-old, are they lying? Are they cheating? Do they have a sense of health? Do they have a sense of responsibility? So these things, I think, in their day-to-day work and behavior, we will be able to assess them. Right? Are they, all the time enjoyment centric, like body centric, right? So these things, as we keep observing our child, uh, we can see which aspects we need to work with them. We can talk to them, right? We can guide them on these things, and let us identify, let us also accept that the child may have difficulty in coming out of the conditioning he may have. See, the child comes with certain conditioning. So working on him will take time. It may take sometimes few months, few years as well, depending on how deep their sanskar is with respect to some aspects, which needs some change. Sandipya, did it make sense? Did I answer the question?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So paying attention to both aspects is the solution. Okay. Yeah. For those who are interested in more on child care and parenting, so we did exclusive sessions on these topics. We can share maybe at the end of the workshop. We have the recording of those sessions on parenting and care and guidance, particularly with focus to our children, because we have young kids. My kids are just 11 years and 7 years. So based on our experiences, we have shared few things. That also we can share with you. Yeah, Rafiji, you want to ask?
Hari garu,
Yeah.
you use the work-life balance for the industries, any course?
We didn't do specifically on work life. We didn't do a specific session on work life, but we did sessions for the corporates. So there was a software company. So we did a workshop for them exclusively. So the founder of the company attended, like you are attending, and he wanted to do this for the entire team. So we did one for them.
Okay. For half day or 1 day course, basically. For corporate is 1 day course or half day course?
Actually, it depends on the company. So they said we cannot take time exclusively for this. So for them also, we did like this every day towards the end of their working hour. So they gave us 2 hours and we did it in a week. But there are places where they stopped work and face to face 1 full day or 2 full days. We have done it. So it depends on the convenience, our convenience. Yeah.
Okay, I will contact you later, Hari garu.
Yeah, please.
Thank you.
Yeah. It will improve things, a lot. And if all of Blue who are working together, have this open heart, clear conversation.
Right.
It will ease the things a lot.
Yeah, should I spoke to my HR? He told discuss with you and come with a plan.
Yeah.
Thank you, Hari garu.
Yeah.
Hari.
Yeah.
I'm Ravinder. Good morning again. Let me add to that madam's doubt. How to know that we are guiding properly our children, and you have explained nicely. But a little bit yesterday, our Giri has told a small example. Feeding children nowadays, to feed the children, mothers are struggling to finally feed. They are being given modern instruments like mobile or any video game and all. So it is totally unacceptable, but it has become a universal, I should say, universal practice. I am seeing nowadays any mother of 1 year, 2 years, 3 years old are struggling to feed them. Ultimately, they are susceptible to the use of these gadgets. So may I know, there may be separate classes how to deal with them. By the time we learn, our children are grown up.
Yeah.
And those same children, for their children also doing same thing. So can I have a small example how to come out of that so that we can help some people not to do like that? Even if you tell they know, अरे we know our हमारा बंदा को पता है हमको कैसा feed करना है. Something like that it comes. So it's a,
I think these things people know how to do right also. It's just that they're not doing it.
I don't know why they are not doing
There is no
it.
lack of knowledge of how to feed your kid. Whether you're doing it, actually doing it or not is the question. I
Yes,
think
yes.
once they understand, what kind of issues it may cause, they will correct it. And if not, they'll correct later. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
See, many a times we know, right? We ourselves also we know. We are complaining about them, but we ourselves are watching TV and eating. Neither we are not enjoying the food, we're not paying attention properly to the TV. You're looking at you go to restaurant, there are 4 people sitting, everybody's looking at the phone. So
Ravinder sir, nowadays kids become very intelligent. They know where to ask mobile, when to ask mobile.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
If you have some,
Ultimately,
if you have
yeah.
some relative in house, they come and bang you for mobile. I want mobile.
Mobile.
You cannot escape from them. We not give you. We not give. They
Yes,
cry
sir.
and make tantrums.
Yes, sir.
They
But
know where to ask, when to ask.
that is true. At least at the time of feeding, as Giri was telling, at the time of feeding,
Yeah,
that
you can
is,
avoid
should
it.
be avoided.
Right.
But ultimately, all mothers are doing same thing nowadays.
Their goal is to feed the stomach. That's all. Somehow they need to feed him.
No, Giri told, na, ultimately, even though feed, they become lean or more
Yeah,
fat
yeah.
because
Right.
what they are eating, they don't know, and just feeding inside on.
Right.
Anyway, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Any further comments, questions? Okay, so if there are no further questions, we'll go to the topic today. So we discussed so far about understanding ourselves, understanding relationship, understanding society, nature. After we discuss all these things, get the clarity, finally, it dawns on us, it becomes very clear to us that ultimately I have to work on myself. Under myself. When I say myself, whoever has to become better, he has to work on himself. In fact, there is little one can do for others. We can do it, but in the sense that there's no guarantee that one has the power to change other person. Okay. At max, what we can do is we can be in a very right relationship with others and be an inspiration. But final action has to be done by themselves. So we are primarily in this workshop of focusing about how do I become better. We're not trying to give you formulas of how do you change your husband, your wife, right? Or any other thing. We're not trying to provide a toolkit. So here we're providing tools to change ourselves. So that is the topic of today, harmony in the self. Okay, so first let me draw our attention to, now that we are again coming back to ourselves, we started with ourselves, went to relationship, went to society, went to nature, and then coming back to ourselves. So when I say ourselves, myself, I am a human being, and human being is body plus self. Both entities are there. We understand body very well, and we know that it's a material entity, hence it has some physical needs. Physical needs are there. We know how to take care of them. And if you don't take care of them, body will tell you, it's very clear that it will fall sick or it will be out of shape, it will not cooperate, all that. The way it happens, if you don't take care of your AC, if you don't take care of your fan, if you don't charge your mobile, immediately. Similar is the body. But what about the self? Do we understand self? And do we know how to take care of self? So it seems at a larger scale, as a human race, we are not understood this, this conscious entity, because it's not a material entity. It's not immediately visible. You cannot put self under an X-ray machine, CT scan and say that, you have a fracture, you have this. Unfortunately, no such machine is there. Of course, it's visible in terms of our behavior, our work, in terms of how we are feeling inside, but there's no machine or test to show that, you have this issue. So largely, we have not understood what is this self. That's what we are going to discuss today. So again, I'm asking a very simple question, that the happiness what we're talking about, is it concerned, it is related to the body or the self? The happiness we are talking about, right? Is it body or the self? For the body, there is only the health. Okay. So it is the self that is either happy or the not happy. Right? And then we can say, what is going on in the self? What actually, see, the body we know, we eat, we breathe, it is digesting, it is inhaling, exhaling, all that, we know very clearly. But what is happening in the self? What is it that it is taking inside? What is going on? The way digestion is going on in the body, what is going on in the self? Why there seems to be some emptiness, some gap, there seems to be some unhappiness. What is it required, which I am not giving, right? And because of it, it seems to be upset, right? So the self. So let's pay attention to that. See, whatever you want to understand. See, I want to understand the phone. I want to understand, how, some machine works. What I do, I pay attention. I look at it. I open it. I deeply look into it. Then I understand. I open it up. What parts are there? How they are connected? All that I understand. So to understand anything, right, to deeply understand anything, what we need to do is pay attention, pay focus, because that's what we say to the child also. You focus, you study it, okay, you study the books, then you understand any subject. Similarly is the case with the self. I want to understand my self. So I have to pay attention to inside, right? I need to pay attention to myself. And this is a very basic skill. This is a basic skill. And unfortunately, it is becoming more and more difficult because of all the social media and the technology, the way the lifestyle is going on, modern lifestyle. There is a lot of pull for us to pay attention to outside, what is happening in cricket match, what is happening in politics, what is happening in the neighborhood, what is happening in somebody else's life, what is wrong with other people, what is wrong with celebrities, whose health is a problem. Our attention is drawn to so many aspects. Very least we pay attention to ourselves, even though there is a sense that there is some problem, things are not up to the mark. Though we know, we sort of get a sense of it, but we are not paying attention to ourselves. The biggest skill that human being, the biggest power, the faculty that human being has is paying attention to ourselves. But that is the most valuable thing we have, but we are not using it. So we need to pay attention to ourselves, and then we understand ourselves. Okay, that issue needs to be fixed, right? And either the people say it is a meditation. I mean, any word is okay, but ultimately it is looking into ourselves, right? On the name of meditation, you don't look into yourself and say something else, then that is also wrong. That's why we're not trying to use the words. We're trying to focus more on the actual thing to be done. Actual thing to be done is to understand ourselves. If some process is helping you to understand yourself deeply, good, go with it. And it is helping to be more peaceful, that is right, go with it. So that's what we're trying to say. So what is going on in the self? So I can say for myself, and you yourself can observe yourself, just pay attention to inside, not to the outside, then you immediately understand that there are some thoughts. What is going on inside? You call it mind, you call it brain. That's okay. But you just pay attention, you see that some thoughts are going on inside. And there are some feelings also inside. Right? And then also you can ask another question. Are these thoughts continuously going on? let's say that yes, they are continuously going on. So that is the activity of the cell. The body is processing whatever is the physical things, air, water, food that you give, that is going on. What self is doing is that continuously it is thinking. There's a continuity. And then the way to the body, you give the right food, it will digest and give you the nutrition. Let's say you eat a fruit which is rotten, which is spoiled food, smelling bad, you eat it, body will not digest, it will throw out, you will vomit, and the body will have problems. Similarly, self also wants to have right thoughts. The way body accepts certain kind of food, you give too hot food, you cannot swallow. You give too cold, your teeth will ache. Similarly, self also requires right thoughts, right feelings. You try hating a person, immediately you will feel uncomfortable, right? Even though they have done wrong. But try hating a person, it is immediately that makes us unhappy. Okay. And whenever there is a confusion, there is some decision I need to take. Okay, there is some decision I need to take. And I don't know whether I have to do this way or that way. That means there is a state of confusion. Confusion. Immediately it's not comfortable. It's like, when you're hungry, your body is a low energy state. Similarly, self is also a low energy state. Wrong feelings, the 9 feelings we discussed, trust, care, guidance, the opposite of it is not acceptable. The way for the body, the rotten food, too hot, too cold is not acceptable. Similarly, wrong feelings, wrong thoughts, conflicts, confusions are not acceptable to the self. You can have these wrong feelings for hours and hours, days and days, months and months. In some cases, we have for years of resentment, anger, complaints, hatred towards other people. Those many times, that much long period, we are going to suffer. We're going to suffer. The way people suffer other body problems. People may suffer from asthma, constipation, stomach pain, knee pains, like that. You may have this dissatisfaction for a long period. The root of it is I don't have right thoughts, I don't have right feelings. So that is the level of that is the situation with respect to the self. Then what is the solution? And then should I stop thinking? Should I stop thinking or attain harmony? What do I do? Do I avoid the thoughts? We do that actually. How do we avoid? Drink alcohol, watch YouTube, watch TV, get yourself engaged in some kitty party, become part of a club and discuss with friends so many unnecessary topics. During that time, at least your thought process, the conflicting thoughts are not there. So what we do, we divert ourselves, diversion activities. And many of these activities require money, resources. Okay, that is why our requirement of money and resources also goes up. Because there is some problem in the self, we are trying to fix it through indulging through our body in some drinking, eating, chit chat, unnecessary, these things. Because we don't know how to fix ourselves. There is a disharmony in the self, how to come to harmonious state. That process we don't know. If we know this process, in fact, you observe yourself also. See, on a day when you have, very good friends at home and you're having good time, okay, you are very happy, very energetic. That day, you look at your phone, very less. You will forget to check the news, check the TV, right? These things. Because that day, the need for these things is not there. You are already in a harmonious state. And the idea is to stay in that state for 24/7 for all the time. So how do we attain this harmony? Being harmony is happiness. Happiness is nothing more, nothing less. It is just about being harmony. That means having right thoughts, right feelings. Then you will make right choices also. So that is what is just happiness. As simple as that. It will make it so complicated. It's just a matter of how you are feeling inside, what thoughts you have. That's what determines my current state. Okay. So that's the truth. You can all verify when you're feeling good, when you're feeling not good. This is also a proposal. Please verify. And our behavior and work is actually a result of my inside state. If I'm harmonious inside, if I'm happy inside, if I don't have confusions, conflicts, if I'm not thinking about too many things, at that time I'll say nicely. But I myself in confusion, right? I have a fight at office and I have complaints on my boss. I come home, body has come home, but thoughts are still in office. And then my wife will say something, that is when I may react, right? And somebody does something, then we say, what nonsense you're doing. So our behavior, or I may drive, and then there is, I may not drive properly, right? I may just hit some wall unknowingly, I may slip. All these accidents may happen, or something wrong may happen. So what I do, how I talk, my behavior is a 100% functional, directly proportional to what I think, what my current feelings are. So if you try to fix the behavior and work outside without fixing the inside, it's very difficult. It's very difficult. It's like, there is a leakage and you try to arrest the leakage by tying a cloth around or putting your finger there and do something. No, you have to stop the flow. You have to stop the flow of thoughts, flow of the feelings. Rather, if you try to stop behavior and work, it will put a lot of pressure on us. It's very difficult. For example, I don't fix my craving for getting happiness through, let us say, sensory pleasure. But I join a course, I join some yoga session, join some gym, keep on doing it. It will happen for some days. Again, you'll sleep and you will not do it regularly. The main thing to be fixed is trying to get pleasure through body. Without fixing that conditioning, if you try to fix your habits, it's going to take a lot of effort and it will challenge our willpower. And ultimately, it will, you will not succeed. So what to be fixed is at the level of thoughts and the feelings. So many times we can see why do we have this disturbance? Why do we have conflicts? Why do you have opposition? They are not in alignment with nature. What do you mean when I say alignment, not in alignment with nature? What is acceptable to you? What is naturally acceptable to you? In a relationships or not in relationships? For all of us, what is acceptable is a relationship. What is acceptable? Trust or mistrust? Trust is acceptable. But do I have trust on others? I don't have, but that person is this and that we say. So we have but and so many clauses to have the feeling of trust. Forget about the other person. The moment you have a feeling inside you, that is your problem. That is your problem. That means I have some food that cannot be digested. I have some feeling that is not acceptable to self. Who will suffer? I will suffer. Because I am carrying something that is not acceptable, that is not palatable. So this is not acceptable to myself. Do not want to think like that, but I keep on thinking, right? I don't want to be keep on thinking. Why do I do this? Why do this? Why is it happening like that? So we try to understand our thinking is like that, or our feelings is like that because of this, these three things. There is a motivating force behind every thought has a seed. Thought is like a branch or leaves, but there is a seed behind every thought. What is that seed? The seed could be one of the three things. So the seed can come from sensation. That is, I may have a thought of, today I'm feeling tired, so tomorrow I want to wake up late and have more coffee, more tea than I normally take, and then they say want to watch a movie. Let's say you have these thoughts. All these thoughts are what? The root of these thoughts is to try to get some pleasure from sensations, from sensation. So the source can be thought, source of our thoughts can be sensation. Let's say I have something else, I want to work like this, I want to behave like this with my boss or do something and get my business going on well or do well in my career and get this promotion, get appreciated by in such and such way, or go to such and such function by wearing such and such sari, such and such jewelry, and then impress others. We may have thoughts like this. All these are based on assumptions, preconditions, that if I have higher position, I get more respect. If I look more beautiful, I get more respect. If I have more money, I get more safety and security. These are assumptions, preconditions that we have. We are deeply conditioned, right? So that can be another source of happiness. Both of them, do not guarantee happiness, because we know there are people who are richer than us. Are they happy? There are people, we ourselves indulge so many times in sensory pleasures. Yes, they give, for a momentary pleasure. Many times they may not give momentary also. You can have coffee in a disturbed state of mind. You don't even sense the taste till it's done, right? Because you're occupied with, something else. There are situations you go to a movie, but then you're thinking about something, you don't even enjoy the movie. So here, there is no guarantee of happiness. But when your imagination or thinking, the feelings we have, let me write it in feelings. Feelings are rooted in natural acceptance. I understand the nature. I understand what is right based on my, verification. Based on that, I have thoughts. So I have thoughts of myself becoming better. I have thoughts of being in right relationship. I have thoughts, of helping others. I have thoughts of cultivating trust. These thoughts are going on. And those thoughts will not actually disturb. They are good. The thought process is like, self is at work, right? And there is no problem as such with the thoughts. Having wrong thoughts is the problem. Okay? And during that process, we are in harmony. We're just planning something or introspecting something or working out details of something that is right to do. So based on whether you have, source 1, that is preconditioning, this is 1, source 2, that is sensation, or source 3, which source, right? Which is the seed behind the thought I have. So we can see that. And unfortunately, we don't have a mission to see this thing. You have to verify yourself. The self itself can look into the self and verify whether the thought I have is coming from the 1, that is assumption, coming from the 2, that is sensation, or coming from natural acceptance. If it is natural acceptance, there is a guarantee that it can provide harmony. And hence my behavior and work also will be, right manner. Behavior will lead to my happiness and others' happiness. Work will lead to my prosperity in the nature, mutually fulfilling way. So that is the entire dynamics, of the self. Again, just to elaborate, when we say preconditioning, it is assuming without knowing. We don't have the knowledge, we just assume. The way a child assumes, then it will be so good to have 100 chocolates, 1,000 chocolates, have so many ice creams. We are also assuming as an adult, it will be good to have hundreds of crores of money, have higher position. That guy is out chocolate, and for us, the chocolate is the money, right? Or some pleasure, right? So that we are assuming. We don't know. We don't actually know, as in the sense that know for sure. See, when you know for sure, you don't do thing against it. See, I know for sure one thing, that if I leave this pen, it will fall. So I'll never do that. So that's what is knowing. Knowing at information level is not knowing, right? That is just an information. If I know that the money is not going to give, I will not obviously work that way. I'll just speak that money is not important, but keep on doing the same thing. That is actually not knowing. So that's what we are saying, assumptions. This is just an assumption. Similarly, expecting happiness from favorable sensations, right? Either to sound, touch, all these, you either to music. I'm not saying don't enjoy music. Let's be aware that it cannot solve our problems, it cannot fix the self, right? Temporary pleasure, yes, it can give, right? Touch, whether it is, air conditioning, sex, and any other thing, right? We all know, right? It's just a momentary pleasure form of it. Looking at beautiful things, people struggle so much to go on a holiday just to look at some form of the nature. Again, I'm not saying that it's bad, but that can be source of the happiness. The taste, the food, people will be so reactive the moment there is some slight change in the food. So that means that person's state of the self is predominantly sensation centric. Okay, in the smell. So Here and here, there is no continuity and happiness. And there is no guarantee that we will become better. And here, when our thoughts, our feelings, our self is driven by natural acceptance, that means we know the purpose, what to be, what to do as a human being. We have clarity about this. And we think about these things. That leads to harmony and happiness within. Here, the continuity is desirable and possible. Example, relationship is naturally acceptable. It is possible to live in relationship, relationship leads to harmony, happiness within. When these are all acceptable, when you have these thoughts and feelings and work on it, that leads to happiness. Again, same thing I'm trying to explain in a graphical form. See, this entire thing, human being, we divide into two parts. This is the self, this is body. Okay, self and the body. In the self, you have this thought process. So you have some desires, thoughts, expectations. And based on this, that the body is acting and your behavior comes out and your work comes out. That is driven by thought process. But the question is, who is driving this thought process? Is it coming from the natural acceptance? That is your conscious, your inner voice. Your thought process is driven by the natural acceptance, your inner voice, the innate intention. The innate intention, see, even when you are shouting at somebody, if you look into yourself, no, I didn't want to shout, but I don't have any other way. That's why I'm doing. That means that is not your innate intention. Let's say you listen to your innate intention, the inner voice, and you know the purpose of yours. And your thought process is driven by the right understanding. These are all the same things. And you have right feeling. And then you behave well. That leads to harmony. This is state of harmony. And it is guided by the natural acceptance rather than assumption or sensation. In contrary to that, that means the supply from natural acceptance is not there. The supply line is cut. That means I'm not listening to my inner voice. Atma Sakshi, we say Atma Sakshi, like my Atma, my soul, my self is the evidence that based on that I am, driven by. That is not there. What is driving? This A, you can see this, dashed arrow, assumptions are driving. Or sensation, you see, sensation arrow is coming from the body because it is through the body. So my thought process is not driven from the top, natural acceptance, but is driving from side, that is assumptions, which are provided to me by others, or through the sensation that your body's, through the body signals, my thoughts are going on. Then there is a contradiction in the self. Right? And then there is an impact on the body. Right? You indulge more in sensory pleasure, you all know there's an impact on the body. And as a result, there will be unhappy self and unhappy, overall in life. That is the wrong way of doing it. And then this little see more into the A part, that is conditioning. Right? We don't have the clarity about life, clarity about human being relationship, but still we are operating. That means we have some conditioning inside. There's some information, something is there in all of us anyway. From where it is coming, it is coming from family, it is coming from society, media, and we have some conditioning in place of clarity. So we may have a conditioning like this. No, all this is fine, but all this is practically not possible. That means I have that conditioning. That's it. So I will not put this into application. And with some people, I'll behave in certain way. With some people, I'll behave in a different way. So I may have this thing. Now, all this is good, but not now. These are the things you have to do after your 50-year-old, 60-year-old. Again, a conditioning. And that you may have picked up from some video, some person, or some book, something. Right? So these are all conditioning. What is conditioning? Conditioning is anything I am not verified. You put to the test. Is it true? Is it true? Does it, is it valid? How do I test it? There are two tests. One is naturally acceptable to you. You ask your inner voice, and then it should lead to your happiness now also, in the future also, not at the later point of time. And also it should lead to others' happiness, prosperity. But then we don't have this awareness. Without the awareness, clarity, we are operated by conditioning. And this conditioning may be right sometimes. Conditioning is not all the time wrong, because there are some right conditioning also. Like there is conditioning that, you take care of your health. That's good. Though we are not understood it deeply, we are just going by what everybody says, and it's good. But sometimes it may be wrong, right? So that's why the conditioning have to be converted into my clarity, right? If it remains as conditioning, then there is no guarantee. So the idea, what we are saying is just be aware about this and let us develop the clarity inside. Okay. So I'm just showing you some possible ways. For example, one can be influenced by advertisements. And these advertisements, just play on what people's conditioning currently is. They study conditioning, and because the motive is to sell, you see, here they sell fair and lovely, and in a place in African countries they sell dark and lovely because you cannot sell fair and lovely in Africa. And then people sell the refined oil, whether it is good or not, you go and verify. But we all use it. Similarly, with the babies, so many products, there is an emotional aspect to when it comes to babies and such, baby powders or so many things, people are talking about the videos and such things. All these are a source of influence. For example, they're saying that, you eat this particular pan masala, then you are considered a big person. And then one can pick up from here and go behind this. And then it says that, a complete man is somebody who, it's not saying that, when you understand the things, you're a complete man. It's saying that, no, if you just wear this, you're a complete man, right? And then we wear this. And then our superstar is saying that, right, you can't go like this to a wedding. You're just wearing pant and shirt. Is this the way you come to the wedding? And then some conditioning happens. All of us wear different things to the weddings. So all these what happening is, a lot of conditioning from so many sources. And immediately in all these cases, we jump on and blame everybody, all the celebrities, media, say that everybody is wrong. I'm not saying that. We are the one who are buying into it. Okay, we are also doing wrong, they're also doing wrong. In an absence of the clarity, people will do wrong. Right? So if there are unaware people, there will be, always a source to wrongly, influence. And even before social media, people did wrong. There were always wars, exploitation, slavery, inequality throughout the human history. You go back 1,000 years back, there were issues, right? Yes or no? There were wars, there was slavery, right? They were just, family rulings. All these, issues were there. It's not there only because, we have now, technology and this thing. Yes, we may be doing more damage to compare to previous years, but these issues were there. They cannot be solved unless we ourselves get clarity. So what is the wrong assumptions we have? 3 basic assumptions. One is we assume that we are body, self is body. That is not true. We assume more physical facilities means more respect. That's not true. We assume that we have a continuous need of physical facilities. No, we have only a limited need of the physical facilities. So in place of this, if you have these wrong assumptions, mostly our life will be, mostly our time, the way we are spending our day will be mostly driven by accumulation of more and more money, more and more physical facilities. Because our conclusion is that we need more. So we are busy in that activity. And we prepare our child also worthy of accumulating more and more. Okay, that's what we do. And then more we accumulate. For example, if we see what we have now and what we have some 10, 20 years back, probably the things are double, but still we feel that we don't have enough. Feel that, I cannot donate 1,000 rupees to. I say that somebody is doing good work, somebody requires help. In my family itself, somebody requires some help, but I cannot even, help them with 1,000 rupees. I said, no, I don't have enough. That kind of deprived state we will be. We will be in a deprived state. That is what is called daridra. That is daridra. Right? Whereas that means we are restricting to only physical facilities. But when we expand our thing to this bigger circle, that is, we start valuing relationship, we start valuing right understanding, and then we can come out of this. So to do that, what we are trying to do is this. We understand our behavior work is due to thoughts. Okay. And the thoughts is based on the perception, the worldview I have, the clarity I have about every aspect. And this worldview is based on what? If the worldview is based on the nature, it matches with the nature, and then there is a harmony. But then I want the nature to match my worldview. Right? That's not going to happen, whatever we do. And then there is a disharmony. Okay, so what are we trying to do? We cannot suddenly change anybody's perception. What we can do, we can again talk like this, engage in a dialogue, and give these inputs to the thoughts. You see here, the one I am highlighting, there is an arrow. So through the workshop, we're trying to give some proposals to your thoughts. And if you verify these proposals, if these find sent to upstairs, upstairs is your perception. Okay, this perception. The perception changes, thoughts will change, behavior will change, work will change, everything will change. It is the perception or the clarity of the world, that is disturbing. Okay, and then we start valuing all these three things. So if the perception is not according to the right understanding, we say the physical facility is the end of life. If the perception is based on our perception, perspective is based on the clarity, that based on the right understanding, our thoughts will be in harmony, our actions also will be harmony. They won't change with new events and new experience of the life. They will be rooted in the right understanding. So again, as I'm trying to explain in this pie chart, just verify, what percentage in a day when I pay attention to this, what percentage of my thoughts are based on assumptions, what percentage on sensation, what percentage on the natural acceptance. That is the percentage of our happiness in a day. If there is more and more portion of this natural acceptance, then we'll be more and more in a harmonious state. And to do this, we have to do our self-introspection. Right? You can talk about the way you can talk about IQ, the intelligence quotient. You can talk about self-quotient. Self-quotient is the quality of the thoughts I have. If there are more thoughts that are naturally acceptable, that means a better quality. You have less thoughts, it's a less quality. So the summation of the thought process for all time, and that is the self-quotient. And how do I improve this self-quotient? Right? That I can work on myself. Presently, most likely, it is like to be a mixture. It's like to a combination of the reality also, right? And some assumptions also. The assumptions or conclusions we draw from our, some things happen in life. From there, we try to draw some conclusions. But the more and more we have the clarity rooted in the natural principle, the universal principles, then the better is the self-quotient. So how do I improve, my quality of the self, my being is you have some level of the clarity at this point. I have some level. So by being in the right environment, that will help, of course. And also how much time I'm spending, how much effort I'm putting in my self-exploration. From the environment can give you good things and the bad things. That you don't have much control. If you can improve your environment, yes, do it. Right? Be with the right people, be it in a right working environment, try to be at places where it is conducive to your development. But the more important thing is how much self-exploration I'm doing. As we explore, verify our understanding, we become better, and better. Again, just to put everything, be aware, step 1, step 2, identify the desire or the seed behind every thought. Behind every thought, there is a desire. And use filter. Is this desire coming from assumptions, sensation, or natural acceptance? Which of these categories? And the moment you pay attention that, oh, I have this assumption in me, I have an assumption, the thoughts are going on for me to become rich or become powerful so that I can be happy. Oh, this assumption is there. The moment you identify, that assumption starts weakening and eventually it will drop. It's like this. So if you have a few kids who are doing some nonsense, the moment their mother comes, the father comes, or the teacher comes, entire class they become silent. So whatever dancing going on inside, The moment you try to pay attention, that will stop. Again, you pay attention to something else, that will again start doing. But the more and more aware you are, the less and less, assumption-based, sensory-based thoughts will be there, and we become better and better. So only simple thing we need to do, it's not as simple as I'm saying, is to pay attention to ourselves, right? And that will help us in cultivating the right feelings and cultivating the right understanding, right? So the idea is to take some exclusive time to start with. So you listen, you go to a yoga camp, you listen to something, ultimately you come home with something to practice after the workshop, what to do. You can do bragging about this workshop somewhere else to somebody, but it's of very little use. They'll just conclude that this guy got some new information and then want to show. And they'll also know that, okay, this guy seems like excited and came with some new information he's going to tell me, right? But actually what we can do for our implement is, can we take just 15 minutes, 10 minutes, half an hour? Let's say I just sit at one place. Doesn't matter which position I sit and where I sit, but just pay attention to what is going on inside. This is diagnosis. This diagnosis. Just every day. Let's say every day is not possible. Maybe 2 times, 3 times, 4 times a day. That itself, will make a lot of improvement in our life. Ultimately, the objective is to be aware 24/7. Like mostly our life is बेहोश, होश में नहीं है हम लोग. So होश में होना मतलब हमको पता है कि अंदर क्या चल रहा है. Ultimately reaching that state. So if you call it meditation, it is like being in meditation 24/7. Like you can say it as a meditative lifestyle. That is the target we're seeing. And then we can say, ye kya hai? I mean, all the time you are just somewhere else. I'm not saying be somewhere else. I'm saying just observe what you are. And then what else? What is more important to do? Right? What more important to do? I'm saying when you're working, pay attention. What is going on inside, right? Or you're thinking of something else and working. Involve fully in the work, right? Other than our own happiness, what more important thing we have in life to do, right? And remember the key that harmony will lead to miraculous results. Why I'm saying miraculous results, not just to encourage you, not just pump you up with something. That is how the nature is. You invest money, you get 5%, 10%, 12% returns. But you plant a seed, you're getting entire tree, so many fruits in the nature. It gives you for free. Try doing something according to the nature. The nature dividends are a lot. That's what we say, God's grace. That's what we say, the blessing. There is an abundance in the nature. We are not feeling now because we are not living as per the nature, whether in our thoughts or in the behavior. You try doing like that, you just cultivate a true feeling of love and try living. You see how other person just melts. But we don't want to, not because it costs lakhs of rupees, because we have such a memory of their earlier behavior and we branded them like some wrong people, and then we cannot have right feeling towards them, though it doesn't cost. And you have like this, your relationship will blossom. Your work, you will be able to do so much good work. You will work 8 hours a day, but you don't get tired. You are filled with energy. The body may get tired, and you are still in such a high energy state. And anybody who comes in contact with you, just the way COVID virus get infected, they're just infected by your energy, right? And more people are wanting to be with you. You will become a center of a powerful influence for the other people. They seek our guidance. Now all this will help. So we don't understand this world of the self at all. So in nature, if you observe, every minute the miracles are happening. Simple breathing is a miracle, right? So same way, if we start living as per the nature, there are results. And I can say for myself, that as I start practicing this more and more, there is such a blessing in life, and the inner state is, so much, happiness, and so many good things are happening. Whatever initiative we do it, so much help comes, and so many things happen. And when I work like that, if I invest just, some 10 units of work, the result is, 50 units, 100 units. And so many people join with us in the work we do. And life will be, much, much beautiful. And what to do for all this is, a simple practice: pay attention to yourself and start observing your thoughts, your feelings. If there are anything wrong that is driven by sensation, assumptions, filter them out. If you're not able to filter them out, just accept that they are there. Currently, they are there, and they'll get weakened with the time. It won't take so much time. In my case, for a long period of time, though I know all these things, I didn't practice. So only at an information level, only outside behavior and the work, I was able to correct. But a deeper change has happened only when I started, practicing. And it didn't took much time. Within, few months itself, something like 3 to 6 months itself, there's a remarkable change inside me. First of all, others may not know it. And within, 1 or 2 years, and the change was, so much visible, even outside. And things are getting, much, much better day by day. And in some period, they don't get much better. And immediately I can see that in that period, my practice got weakened. Because doing this practice is also not easy. I'm not trying to say that these are any easy thing. But then what is easy in life? We are doing so many difficult things already in the life. Every day we are spending 8 hours, 10 hours doing so many things. Why should we consider this thing to be easy? Why should we expect that this should be easy? Right? Let us crack this. Right. So I'll stop here and take up any questions. And if something is not clear, please you can ask. We have about 10 minutes of time. Did it make sense, by the way, what I spoke?
Yeah, a lot of stuff. There was so many things gone inside. Such a shortest time you have covered almost 1 day, 2 days topics. Wonderful. You told nicely. Nothing is easy, but what is easy? Not so easy.
Yeah. But it is within our capability. Every human being,
Yes, incremental.
It's given this gift. We're all capable of doing it. It doesn't require special skills. It's not that only few people can do.
Yeah, wonderful. You take initiatives, many people will join. Is a very good word you have put it. I'm in fact experiencing also. Earlier also we were experiencing. Now the such a society, anything you do, there are many people who want to follow you. Yeah. Let others also speak, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Randev. Yeah, any questions, any clarifications?
Sir,
Yeah.
excuse me. Good morning, sir.
Yeah, hi, Jasmine.
Sir, one example, give me one example, sir, regarding conditioning and clarity, sir. Conditioning doesn't give us happiness, it won't know, sir. So how can we clarity, one example, sir?
Yeah. See, it can be like this. We may have a conditioning. Let's say we may have some people may have a conditioning that, women behave in certain way. Okay. And then based on that conditioning, I start behaving in different way and look at the woman in a different way and discriminate between, men and the women, male and the female. Right. That is a conditioning. But whereas if I have the clarity, I understand that every human being is same. At body level, they're different, but the self is the real human being. At self level, it is the same. And then I start having the same respect for everybody.
Yes, sir.
So
Sir,
one conditioning is that. Similarly, we may say that people will respect us only when you have a position, when you have some money. We may have that conditioning. Let's say respect we will get only by this. Okay, and then we may have a confusion saying that only when people talk nice to us or pretend to be valuing us, then we may feel that is the respect. We go by the conditioning. But when you deeply understand the respect, what is true respect, right? We understand that first of all, I myself do not have the clarity that what is respect. I am looking at outer aspects of the human being, their profession, their physical assets, their bodily features, their status and such things. And other person is also similarly confused and looking at those things. And myself, I'm concluding that they are not, respecting me. So then I'll be relieved once I have this clarity, and I'll be much better status, will not get disturbed by others person's lack of clarity, and then will not run behind getting this pseudo respect, right? Pseudo respect. Rather, I work on my clarity. So this is the difference between conditioning and clarity. Yeah, yes.
yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Every day I face with one problem, sir. Every day, uh, why I'm waking up? What is this life? Like that, I will think, sir. What to do? Means everyone is no force in do this job and get money like that. There is no force. So we don't have clarity what to do in life. Every day I wake up with this confusion what to do, like laziness and without motivation. I will wake up like that, sir. So how do I get clarity on life, sir?
Yeah, first thing is that I would say, in fact, this state is not a bad state, first of all. Just I would like to, in fact, acknowledge and encourage you that having this question itself is good. In fact, many people do not have this question in their life, right? So having this question is good. And remember, when you have that state, we have questions, but we don't have answers yet. It is uncomfortable. There is a saying, there was a professor,
Yes, sir.
Michael Sandel. So I was listening to his professor. He's teaching a course in Harvard. So he has a quotation. He says that any philosophy, any input like this, any spirituality, will first unsettle you before it settles. So first it will, shake you and challenges the assumptions we have before you yourself sort out all these things and come to a stable state. So it will be little struggle during this process, but it's a very good state to have these questions. And only when you have these questions, you will find answers. And even if we give a ready-made answers, that won't solve. Ultimately, one has to find their own answers. We can only help in how to find answers and what are the possible answers. Right? I can speak for myself. I see that the purpose of life is to evolve. That is becoming better and better, day by day. And any useful work I can do is help other people to evolve. Only these two things: evolution of myself, helping others in evolution of themselves, as a society, as a human race to conscious development to happen. And that's why the CHDHC, the conscious development of humans.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So don't worry, just be comfortable with the state of confusion also. Accept that there is a confusion. Be
Yes, sir.
comfortable. No problem. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Any more questions? Reshma garu, Uma garu, Bhaskar garu.
No, sir, no question for me. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Narasimha garu, Padma garu.
Sir,
Yeah. Yes.
Myself, Sudhir, sir.
Yeah.
Sir,
Yeah, so yeah.
two things one of my senior told me.
Mm.
One is that when you're going on the road, even you follow rules or everything, if the other person coming opposite to you doesn't follow,
Mm.
then accident is bound to happen.
Mm.
And one more point he told is that I have given food while the other person was hungry,
Mm.
but now they don't remember it.
Mm.
So these two things I'm not able to. Means, this was told long back, around 20 years back, that he told me.
Mm.
But these 2 points never leave my mind.
Mm.
So how to this means? Is it true? Means I'm when I'm listening to your everything, you are telling that you should be good or you should harmonize yourself, everything.
Mm.
But what about the other person who is coming on the opposite direction? First thing.
Yeah.
And the second thing is that see, I'm this is these 2 points. That's one is that same thing.
Yeah, understood. Mm.
These two
So,
points are never leaving my mind.
yes, absolutely. Let's take these 2 points. So here we are saying what your friend is trying to say is what is the current state, sir? What is the current state of the situation? What he says is right, that the people are not evolved. We are also not evolved. Others are also not evolved. So people are bound to do mistakes. Whether it's traffic or life. Okay, this is fine. So what do we do about it? So I conclude that everybody will continue to make mistake lifelong. So that's why let's not have any right feeling towards people, or let's not work for improvement of others or myself. Is that the conclusion I make? See, one thing is to assess what is the current status. It is very clear that the large section of the people do not have the clarity, including me. And meanwhile, we'll make mistakes. We'll bump our heads into each other. So let us be aware about that also. But at the same time, let us be aware of what is right. What is right? What is my inner voice telling me? The inner voice telling me to have right feeling towards everyone. That is not because they are great. It is because that way only I'll be happy. So you start having the wrong feeling towards others. Who is uncomfortable first? Who is uncomfortable? Can we be comfortable by thinking that everybody is wrong?
No, sir.
Right? So everybody wants to be right. The way I am not able to be right all the time, others also have issues. So when I understand their competence, presently they don't have competence to be the right. Same is the case with me. So then I cultivate the feeling of trust. And when it comes to practical, let's say I'm driving, I will be careful that there will always be vehicle that will come opposite. You're wearing helmet, you're going slow, you're wearing seatbelt. So I do this. But at the same time, even if somebody is sitting, I'll not have a feeling of opposition toward that person. But if I have to punish that guy, I'll do. If I have to teach him a lesson, I'll have to do this. That part is external. But inside, there's no point in getting disturbed. You may be meet with accident, the damage may not be so great, but you'll come home and talk about it to 100 people. Not 100, let's say over the phone, you get disturbed and all. So you understand that people are this way. People, that's what just now we discussed. As long as we have a strong desire to be sensory pleasure, we will get indulged in some drinking, some sex, some YouTube, this thing. And when you do those things, our behavior it shows us in our behavior, right? We may drink and drive. We may look at other people, other women in a wrong way. And the extreme case is the rapes and such things. And we may, indulge in the phone and these things, not pay full attention to ourselves, our family members when we are at home. All these things happen. Some of them are legally okay, some of them are legally not okay. In fact, the law is very strong that when you are home, if you don't pay attention to your family, you will be put in jail. All of us will be in jail. Right? But then just be aware that what is the current status and what is the right thing to do. When I say right thing to do, that leads to my happiness, my betterment, and others' betterment. And similarly, the same things are in the work also, in the human relations also. Yes, some people may not be grateful. Am I be grateful for everybody who helped me? Do I have that deep feeling towards the people who helped me? So many times it happens with us. There is a person who helped us, but after some point we have some issue with that person. We say that okay, that time he helped me, but there is some issue. So the feeling of recent complaint is much stronger than the previous gratitude. Right? So, as I said, all of us struggle with having right feelings, but right feelings is the way to go for our happiness, a better relationships. So we are talking about if we work out a model based on what people are currently, it will go worse and worse. Then we will not have relationship. We'll have more locks. We'll have more rules, more penalties. Become people who are not connected at all. We know what is the current status. We also know where to reach. Based on that, we can work out. Okay.
Sir, thank you, sir. Because all these 6 days when I was hearing, actually I got the answer.
Yeah, you got the answer. But still, yeah, I understand.
But still, some links are missing. But I hope everything will be linked.
Whatever your friend is saying is also correct, sir. But we are talking about the solution.
Yes.
Whatever they are talking is the current situation. We agree with the current situation. We all know. Right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
So it's time. If there is any last question, maybe we'll take. Otherwise, we'll stop. So there are 2 more days. Tomorrow also, day after tomorrow also. And as we coming to the later half of the workshop, we have more and more important things. The things will be so valuable for our development. So I request to, again, as you are attending, be more attentive, right? Don't sleep. It's early morning, I understand, right? Okay. So please show up tomorrow and day after tomorrow. Okay. So I'll stop here. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Yeah, Jayashree?
I think so. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Jayashree. Yeah.
Thank you.